Good evening, people. Here we are once again, another Friday here in wet and windy Wales. We have gale force wind, if that's a surprise to anyone. Anyway, the films I watched this week. Cheers. Lovely. All right. So the first film I watched this week was Bob's second favourite film of all time. A film called The Bluebird from 1940. Shirley Temple, my first ever Shirley Temple film. And I read that it was 20th Century Fox's answer to The Wizard of Oz. You know, this one starts in black and white and then goes into colour. But this kid, Shirley Temple, spoilt little brat and grateful little bitch, visited in her dreams by a fairy and gets told, go and look for a blue bird. And she goes off on an adventure into the past, the future, the present, looking for this blue bird, but finds happiness on the way, wakes up, and she's all happy. I did notice some Wizard of Oz similarities. Some beats of music felt they come straight out of the Wizard of Oz. It's nowhere near as good as the Wizard of Oz, and I couldn't see Shirley Temple playing Dorothy Gale. But it was alright, a bit odd in some parts, not quite as lavish or as spectacular as the Wizard of Oz, but I give it a 6 out of 10. If you saw this as a kid, I could see why you might just love it. Then one of the greats, The Grapes of Wrath, starring Henry Fonda, based on a book which I've read. I haven't read the book, but I've read that the film is better than a book, so take that what you will. But Henry Fonda, Tom Joad, gets out of prison, finds things have changed. It's in the Depression era, and him and his family, they leave Oklahoma and they go to the land of opportunity in California on this rickety old car, all piled up to the hilt, and they go off for a better life. It's a very, very well done film, a solid film. Henry Fonda and maybe other people that more seasoned old-time film watchers will know more than me, but it's a very good film. 1940, I give it an 8 out of 10. Very, very much worth a watch, The Grapes of Wrath. Then, something completely different to that. Couldn't be more different, if I'm being honest. I haven't got the year. I think it's 1977. I watched it because of the poster, which you'll see there. Looks quite, ooh, what's that all about? And then to my surprise, Peter Cushing was in it. Shockwaves. All you need to know is Nazi zombies on an island. That's all you need to know. Everyone knows about the Nazis and the occult and all that kind of stuff, but we have these Nazis who are now, they can go into the deserts of Africa, they go to the Russian front, they'll just keep going and keep going. These bunch of people end up on the island, and I think you can imagine what comes next. If what did came a little sooner, then I would have liked it a little bit more. I give it a 5 because I liked what I saw or what I was hoping to get from it when I saw the poster, but there wasn't enough of it. I wanted it to be a little bit more violent. But 1977, I give it a 5, but I did kind of like it in a weird way. So there you go, Shockwaves. Then from 2021, the sequel to the animated Addams Family that I watched over Christmas, Addams Family 2. They go on a road trip. It's more of the same. They go on a road trip in this big, massive car that spews out purple smoke. And they have to deal with maybe Wednesday isn't an Addams after all. you can kind of figure out why and how and what's going on there. It's more of the same, not quite as fun as the first one. Give it a 6. First watch. I wouldn't watch either of those two again, to be honest, nor would I watch Shockwaves again. And I probably wouldn't watch The Bluebird again. So they're all first/last watches. So yeah, Addams Family 2. Alright for an hour and a half. Then from 1986, Eye of the Tiger. Rick mentioned this, and then I found it and I watched it. Eye of the Tiger. Vietnam veteran returns home from prison and gets on the wrong side of a biker gang that's taken over the town. The cops are crooked. Not all of them, but the cops are crooked. Gets on the wrong side of them. They kill his wife. They invade his house on their bikes. They kill his wife in front of their young daughter. So he seeks revenge. Gary Busey and Yaphet Kotto was also in it as well. Once it got going, I enjoyed it. I give it a 6. He gets this real cool truck with all kinds of toys in it. I was reading about the kid because I thought, who is this kid? But she died a couple of years later in a what was it? A double murder / suicide. She at the age of 10. I'm thinking, I was like, holy shit, really? But that's going off with a tangent. But Eye of the Tiger, decent action flick. Lots of explosions towards the end. Yaphet Kotto flying his helicopter, throwing hand grenades down. It's a 6 out of 10. It was fun. Would I watch it again? Yes. I think I would watch that one again. I would also watch this one again, which I've seen many times. Also from 1986. Cobra. Now this is where the law stops and I start. He is Cobra, Marion Cobretti. There's this gang. There's the night slasher played by Brian Thompson, and Brian Thompson looks like a mean bastard. He plays a good villain. I think it was he Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But really, real decent soundtrack and real cool 80s flick, in my opinion. Give it an 8 out of 10. Like it. Almost, yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'll say I love the vibe and tone of this. And then we end with a film called Poker House. It had the name of what I saw it called Behind Closed Doors, but I like Poker House better. Jennifer Lawrence was in this. I think playing a 14-year-old girl, but she's like 18. You know, one of those things Hollywood does and did and will always do. She plays Agnes. She's got 2 younger sisters, one of which is Chloe Grace Moretz, like 10, 11-year-old. And her mother is a whore. She's also a drug addict, I think cocaine. And it's all about Agnes and her sisters trying to survive day by day. She's trying to make things better for herself. And there's one scene in it, and the aftermath of one scene, which isn't nice to watch. A mother was played by Selma Blair. What a bitch. Just, grim, but uplifting in certain places as well. 2008, I give it a 7. Thought it was a decent story, well acted, well told, and all that kind of stuff. But from what I was seeing in the film, I just thought there'd be a little bit more of a, I don't know, things would come to a head towards the end, shall I say. It's like it would go in and bang, something would happen, but it just kind of went. And I thought, oh, that's kind of disappointing. Maybe that wasn't the point of the film. Laurie Petty directed it, and I read it's also a dramatised version of her childhood. Who knows, but Poker House, 2008. Give it a 7. And that is everything I've watched this week. And all being well, unless my house gets blown away, I'll be back again next week to do it all over again.